Hi, welcome to Sugar Free. This is an all signs reading for new moon in Virgo on the 14th of September 2023. This new moon takes place at the end of a period of Mercury retrograde, and I believe Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. Sounds somewhat unlikely, but I read it somewhere. And perhaps anyone can put me straight in the comments on that. And it's also in a harmonious trine with Uranus, the planet of revolution, in Taurus, planet of the Earth. So very, very interesting time. So we're going to pull on this really subtle and, to my mind, rather pleasing energy coming up. I'm going to be using two decks, possibly an oracle deck or two towards the end. I've got here the ancient Italian tarot, absolutely beautiful. Been working with this deck for about a decade. Now this is minor arcana only. Here I've got the minor arcana split into its suits. So I've got the pentacles here. This is Rider-Waite. The pentacles here, the wands here, the swords here, and the cups here. So what I'm going to do is pull three major arcana cards and then clarify each of those major arcana cards with one from each suit of the minor arcana. So that's the plan. Everything's shuffled. Let's go. Right, I'm going to cut this. We're going to pull our major arcana. Okay. Right, I've got the world in reverse. Oof, I've got judgment. Card number 21, last card, second to last card. Wow, some big energies here. Oh my God. And death. Okay, straight away what I'm getting from this is that it looks like the end of the fucking world, all right? That's what we see as a kind of impression, a snapshot. This first card in this three card pull is things as they appear to you, things as they seem to be, like on the limited spectrum of the individual. I could put it that way, maybe. This card, card number 3 here, today's death in the upright, Il Tredici. I'll have to look that up, what that means one day. I think it means probably the Reaper. Quite tempted to do that now, actually, but maybe I'll just put it in the comments. Sorry, in the description box or the comments. Card number 3 in this 3 card spread is things as they actually are. Okay. Card number 2 is the kind of the fulcrum, the hinge between 1 and 3. And we've got judgment in the upright. Oh my God. All right. So something that looks like the end of the world and is actually the end of something. I mean, card number 13, death, it isn't about death per se. It's about the inevitability of change and how no matter what you accrue, it goes, it all goes. It's that you can't take it with you card, I suppose. Now, I've always found it very interesting in this deck. You see all that stuff that he's reaping up. We've got weapons, we've got jewels, we've got books, we've got tools, we've got all the trappings of worldly power. But there's one thing left out, one thing outside of the grim reach of that scythe, and it's that artist's palette. Creativity. The human capacity for creativity is indestructible. Okay. So that's good. That's what we take forward on the rest of our journey. And that's why this card is not the last card of the Major Arcana. It's barely 2/3 of the way through. Well, it's about 2/3 of the way through. The last card of the Major Arcana is the World. Completion. A completed gestalt, as the psychotherapists, well, a certain gang of psychotherapists would call it. Everything's here. Everything's been done. Everything's done and dusted, right? You've completed on the purchase of your new property, and you're in, okay, and you're into a new phase. It's all here. Oof, after all the ins and outs, the machinations of the Major Arcana cycle, including this buddy here. But you don't get to that until you've gone through this. Card number 20, Judgment. This is the matter of the necessity to make sure that everything is tiggity-boo, so to speak, before you can move on to this completion. What this is telling me is that actually everything is tiggity-boo, and big change is coming with this new moon in Virgo, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like perhaps everything is in place, but it's just not happening. And I mean, I don't want to necessarily put a card as powerful as the World in the same kind of box as Mercury retrograde. I'm not sure why. I always think it's a bit, Mercury's all a bit lightweight, isn't it? It's like fleet of foot and little flappy wings and stuff flying hither and thither. But that's how maybe things are going to feel as we're coming into it. You cannot understand why things are not moving forward. And what we don't see, which is another way of reading this central position in this 3-card spread, what we don't see is that everything actually has been done, right? If this was in the reverse in this reading, I'd be really worried, because I'd be thinking, oh God, it feels like things are not completed and things are not completed, but this is coming anyway. But that's not the case. It's not in reverse, it's in the upright. So I think that that's a very reassuring thing, if I may. But it looks like there's going to be a real kind of build up of like frustration, like a flipping boil filling up. And out it all comes. Here, arise ye dead. All right? All popping up out of their flipping graves and catafalques. Goodness me. Because it has all been gone over with a fine-tooth comb. The energy is ready. It is ready for change. And by golly, when that change comes, it's going to be like, you know, there's life after it and there's life before it. Well, life before it and life after it. You know, there are certain periods where change of that depth and that permanence. So, I mean, the only thing that's permanent is change. The only thing that's permanent is impermanence, which is another way of saying this, speaking as a Buddhist here. This card also represents impermanence. There is not one single thing you can point to and say that it has always been there and that it will always be there. Nothing. There is nothing that can be pointed to in the physical world. But that brings me back again to that artist's palette. The road is open for the creation of a new world. This is wonderful, but there's going to be a feeling of, I'm going to be very interested to clarify this world in reverse, because that's this is a F off big message here. It really is. I'm going to do that straight away. Okay, Ten of Pentacles. So yeah, this sense of frustration and the kind of the constituents and the elements of this change that accompanies this new moon and develops going forward from this new moon in Virgo concerns, these changes concern every aspect of your material life. Your hearth, your home, your family, your extended family, the ancestors, the descendants. Everything is, you know, your work, your money, all of that is encompassed here in the Ten of Pentacles. And this is just kind of reaffirming, it's not explaining necessarily, but it's reaffirming the energy of this world in reverse here. This is big, and that's why it feels so big. It feels like the flipping end of the world. Okay, let's keep going. No, actually, I'll keep going. I was going to do it a different way, but I'm not going to. Okay, we've got the Knight of Wands. Okay, when this change happens, it happens quickly, and you will know about it. You flipping will know about it. You know about this dude, right? He don't like plod up to the back door and like knock on it quietly and ask for a glass of water and a scone, right? This one comes to the front of the castle with a bloody fanfare. I mean, look at all this like fluttering redness here. This comes like fire, this message. Comes like fire, and you might feel, okay, maybe this sort of end of the world feeling, because I realise there's a bit of a contradiction between the sense that something isn't changing and something being the end of the world. I mean, you could say that perhaps feeling that something isn't changing feels like the end of the world, but we'll continue and see which one it is. I'm getting more the idea of something possibly feeling like the end of the world with the gravity of this, but we don't need to worry because it has been gone through, right? We have pulled out all the drawers from the karmic cabinet and gone through them. It's all been gone through. That's what this card is, the second to last one. You have to make sure that the karmic scales balance and that everything's accounted for before you can move through to, I was just going to say, the end of the world. Okay. Wow. Yeah, so it's coming in fast and furious, and it feels like it's rocking your world. We don't have a tower on the table, thank goodness, but we do have the Three of Swords. Yeah, this might not feel great. I'm just going to say like it really might not feel great, and it might bring up, I would say there's the possibility of hurtful words, and it might be hurtful words we speak to ourselves about this, let alone to others. That's what I'm getting of this Three of Swords. This is the application of thoughts and speech to emotional pain, basically. So that's something to keep in mind. But look at that, Two of Cups. Thank fuck for that. Two of Cups. I think I've got away with, yeah, I've been going for 14 minutes. They probably anyway, because apparently if you swear, like proper swear, too early in a YouTube video, you get a strike on it. There's a cut-off point, but I don't know what it is. But anyway, we'll see. Two of Cups. How lovely! How lovely. There's this ushers in, and how fascinating to go from the Three of Swords to the Two of Cups. That's a real. It's kind of counterintuitive, this. It sort of surprised me a little bit, and all I can say at this stage of the reading is that something opens up in this change that creates the space for emotional healing. Okay, I'll put it that way. My eye is drawn today to the double helix here and the caduceus above those two cups. This is profound healing. This is very simple, true love. All right, and I mean, you know, it might be that this emotional pain and this like world rocking change that feels like the end of the world and comes in like all guns blazing is about this. I mean, bottom line is everything that happens is an opportunity for healing if you have a mind to view it that way. Absolutely everything, especially the painful stuff. Right, let's keep going. Do you know, I'm going to pull on this one. I haven't done this before. I'm going to pull on position 3 before I come to position 2, because position 2 is always so interesting, because as I say, it's the fulcrum point between the apparition and the thing. Okay, the apparition of the thing and the thing itself. The experience of the thing and the thing itself. I was watching a very interesting video by a chap called Sam Vaknin, Professor Sam Vaknin. He's a narcissism specialist. He's a twice diagnosed narcissistic personality disorder, sort of academic, freelance academic, I suppose you could call him. And he was talking about the distinction between the experience of the pain of experiencing something and the pain of the thing itself. And the point he was making there was that people with like profound narcissism or perhaps even narcissistic personality disorder, no, it's borderline. He was talking about borderline personality disorder, another one of the cluster B personality disorders as defined by the DSM, that they are more accustomed to stepping out of a situation and kind of feeling the emotional pain of experiencing themselves going through something, rather than simply going through it and experiencing that. There's this sort of one remove. Anyway, why was I talking about that? Yeah. Feeling the experience of something and the thing itself. Right, I'll stop yattering on. Look, who was I talking about? I was talking about the Knight of Pentacles when I pulled this Knight of Wands. Okay. I mean, look at these two. Flipping out. He does look a bit sinister, doesn't he? I've got that song comes into my mind. It's like, what's that coming over the hill? Is it a monster? Is it a monster? I don't even know that song. That's the only line I don't know who did it or anything. I doubt I'll get copyright struck for that. Terrible singing. The Knight of Pentacles is slow moving energy. Slow, inexorable, right? As inexorable as the seasons. And here we go. Here come the metaphors and the analogies. The way the seasons express themselves is changing. It's changing everywhere in the world. Temperature fluctuations, rainfall, sunshine, storms, fires, you know, all of it. The climate is changing its expression of the seasons, but what hasn't changed is the amount of light falling onto each part of the earth from the sun in terms of the tilt of the earth's axis. That has not changed. Okay, so that is still going. Plod, plod, plod. This change is inevitable. There is no avoiding it. You can't. This is non-negotiable energy here, and this was always going to happen. The conditions for this have been building and building and building, and that's also why this is here, because all the elements that bring this are in place. So I'm still not, I mean, I'm laughing, I'm saying they both look pretty sinister. And they're like singing about monsters coming over the hill and that, but I'm not unduly worried by this. I've got to tell you, there's something very kind of liberatingly inevitable about this. Okay, but you might resist it. Seven of Wands, but it's a weak resistance energy. It's really weak. He's not really fighting here. He's just standing up there going, look at my big stick, you dogs. Like this, and there all day. He's already got the advantage. It's this sort of rather pathetic like showmanship here. So yeah, because he's above them. And they're down below going, we don't like you, we don't like you. He's like, I don't care, I'll fight you with my big stick. So there's it's sort of faintly ridiculous. Resistance is futile, alright? And this is futile, the whole thing's futile. They can't get him, and he doesn't need to get them like this. It's just foolish. But there's more to this that I might come back to. I think there's more to that card, but it's not huge energy, and nor is this. Okay, so we've got defensiveness, and here we've got sort of like squabbling. This reminds me of thoughts about what would happen if everything kind of went down, like the electricity basically. If the electricity went down, like that's it. That's it. There's no internet, there's no running water, no traffic, no petrol pumps, no traffic, like F all, it's all gone. It's all over, man, if the lecky goes. And I know it's, one can have sort of quite romantic ideas about living off the grid and we'd be free at last. It would go through stages, and there would be a stage after everybody kind of had taken in what's happened, when what's left, the resources that are left, would start being fought over. And that's what I'm seeing here. All right, in the Seven of Wands and the Five of Swords. This is, but again, this is not serious energy, not really, and it's temporary. Okay. That's the nature of the minor arcana. It's temporary. It's kind of more sort of the expression of something than the thing itself. Okay. This is about the inevitable like tension that comes with something as long in the baking, so to speak, with the Knight of Pentacles here, and as far-reaching and like Rubicon-like in its nature as the Death card here. It can cause a certain amount of defensiveness, like I want to hold on to what's gone before here in the World in reverse. So yeah, I'm getting more of a sort of end of the world feeling for this, rather than a why isn't change coming. One of them might be conscious, one of them might be subconscious, who knows. But there is a certain amount of resistance to this change. And I mean, so far we've got two pretty sort of, I don't know, antsy, I would say, sword cards, and swords representing thoughts and words. So yeah, there might be some squabbling going on here about what resources are left once this change has washed through. I am heartened in that respect by the presence of the Ten of Pentacles here, because this also is about stability. I mean, yeah, okay, in this column itself, it's this thing about this change affecting every aspect of our lives, but there's something solid about this, and this, I mean, okay, like Knight of Wands, so what? He'll come in, make a big, like, hoo-ha and a huzzah, and then jump on the horse and, like, chip off again, you know what I mean, for the next bit of news. And the Seven of Wands is it's not up to much in terms of, and neither's this, especially, this isn't particular. I'm still not really worried about this. I've got to say, I'm really not. And you know what's happening with the swords here just offsets, and we'll see what comes up in the rest of the reading, but offset by this beautiful, pure, simple, unconditional love here in the Two of Cups. So oh, right. Fantastic. King of Cups. Yeah, there's a temptation in this energy here, this final column, to get defensive and kind of and possessive. Defensive and possessive. And that's what I'm seeing here. More than the conflict energy, I'm seeing a possessiveness here now in this Five of Swords. I mean, look, you know, he's gone around the battlefield. He was in his bloody bed all night. They were up fighting. They're exhausted and traumatised. And he's going around, he's had his flipping porridge. His mum made him his porridge. And he's now going around the battlefield, picking up the swords, going, look at me. Look how well I did. They're too tired to even say anything. Look at them, traumatised. And he's going to hold on. And he is holding the Three Swords. He's holding the Three Swords. Wouldn't it be funny if we got the Two of Swords in the middle? That'd be funny. It's possessiveness, but it's really petty and sort of unhelpful, but I just don't see it having a major impact. I'm still not really worried about this. We've got here the King of Cups. This is emotional self-control. This is the energy of really, really knowing what's happening inside you in terms of your how you're feeling about things and being like on top of it. A bit like the Strength card in the Major Arcana. There's solidity here. There's, believe it or not, solidity here, even though you can see right through him. And there's definitely solidity here. There's a state, this is lasting change. No matter the temptation to get sort of defensive and snotty about it, basically. Right, let's pull on Judgment in the middle. So interesting that that's there. Oof, Two of Pentacles. Yeah, okay. First thing I'm getting off this is doubt. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Oh, no, yeah, gosh. Possibilities opening up. Possibilities. He's trying away. What's that on his head? What's that sitting on his head? Is it a... Anyway, he's juggling two, but he could be juggling more. He could be juggling three. Huge opportunities are opening up here through this. Don't waste them by being defensive and possessive. Don't waste them. Like, hold on like he's holding on to that one. Just flip it, hold on to it. Because it might be a bit of a roller coaster. Page of Swords. Okay. Yeah, so we go from the three. Yeah, we haven't pulled the two. We go from the three. We go. Don't let your mouth run away with you. All right, this is a warning at this stage. Page of Swords. This is like slicing at things in a kind of, or not slicing at things. The Ace of Swords and the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords do that, especially the Queen. Like, shoo, straight through it, like that bloody side. That is blunt today. That thing he's carrying there. It's blunt. There's a lot of damage can be done. A lot of damage. And that is, well, there is damage to be done here. And my mind is now being drawn back to these two traumatized figures here. All right, there's an opportunity here for love. And the thing is, I'm linking now, I'm seeing now this artist's palette here as a kind of allegory for this. We do have some creative energy on the table. We've got the Knight of Wands, we've got Three of Wands. It's not particularly strong, the creative energy in this reading. And you know, the possibilities that open up in terms of creativity, because that is really all there is, you know, because we are all making this shit up as we go along, all of us. And that's what conspiracy theorists can't handle. They want someone to be in charge. I mean, I'm not saying all of it's rubbish. This is the trouble with it. Some of it is actually true, or certainly based in truth. Some of it, but you've got to pick your way through. But yeah, no one's in charge. Bottom line. It's an underlying energy, this opening up into this new creative possibility. And I'm not just talking about flipping needlepoint, all right, or like learning a musical instrument. I'm talking about profound creativity here. Envisioning things, like expanding. Every second, every action we take is cracking open a new reality. Every single action we take. Even something as mundane as blowing your nose is opening up a new reality. And it's very, very subtle, and that's the value of meditation, because when you meditate and you bring everything right down to a very, very small point where your physicality has been reduced to an absolute minimum, the only movement is the involuntary beating of your heart and the movement of your digestive system and your breath, and your attention is fully on that. When you shrink it all in like that, when you bring it all to that fixed point, something very interesting happens existentially. Things begin to expand, and you begin to realise that every single action is creating a new reality. And that makes life incredibly interesting and exciting, even just sitting on your butt on a meditation cushion, believe me. So it is subtle, and it's not necessarily easy to spot this capacity, this space for a new way, a new paradigm to come into being. It's like a camera that isn't like particular, isn't perfectly or isn't focused. It's focused at some aperture and not another. Get lost with the technical words, but you know, when you change the focus, and then it's like, whoa, what's that? Yeah, we haven't changed the focus yet. And I guess that's what this column is about how do we change the focus of the lens so that we move from this to this. We have to see that our words have power. I mean, okay, you know, once they're said, and they're kind of, in terms of sensory data, the action of saying them is over. You say them, the person hears them, that they've gone. But it sits in us, doesn't it, what gets said and what doesn't get said. It sits in us. But it's a subtle presence that words have and that words take up inside us. And this Three of Wands here, it's not huge, like charging forward with something new. It's like, yeah, it's kind of not occult in terms of witchcraft, but it's not easy to see the enormity of this change. It's not easy to see it, the profundity of it, and the no going back, the Rubicon-like nature of it. It's not easy to see. So we've got this sort of sense of this Two of Pentacles here. It's like, oh yeah, I could do this, could do that, could do this, could do that. It's like a duality of this and that. But it's quite lightweight. It's quite lightweight, and maybe we'll be looking back to this and being defensive and trying to hold on to what we've got, and being possessive and trying to get more of it and hold on to it, because we're looking back at this. And I just see he's looking back at the Three of Swords, and while his eye is on how sad he feels about this and what he might say and what he's planning to say about it in this frankly rather like daft way, the way he's standing there while he's looking back at that and planning what he's going to say, this is happening out of his line of sight. Just saying. Just saying. Now, Knight of Cups. Yeah, there's going to be emotional give and take and emotional gifts to this period. But again, it's, well, okay, we got the Knight of Cups, we've missed out the Queen. Yeah, there ain't a whole heap of Shakti energy on the table, that's for sure. And we've gone straight onto this like emotional self-control, sitting on this stone throne. This is like emotional backbone, this King of Cups. I mean, the emotions represented by the fluid here, yeah, eventually they'll wear away that plinth that his foot is on there, but, you know, not in our lifetime. So yeah, emotional stability. And I would say the space, being in a position to actually be able to be quite generous. There's a generosity here, and it's a dual generosity. And then there's, you know, someone actually turning up with something meaningful. You know, might be you, might be somebody else. So, yeah, there's so much here about, I mean, even in this column, things as they really are. This is still sort of about how we're seeing it. And I think that speaks to the sort of profundity of this shift. There's a sense here that we can kind of make whatever we want in this energy of this new moon in Virgo. We can kind of make whatever we want. There's a reordering of things, definitely, with the power of these three cards. World in reverse, judgment and death. There's a reordering of the old order has gone. And when the old order goes, and this does run really, really deep, because don't forget, we've got that trine of Uranus, the planet of revolution, rapid change. The magician, you know, Uranus, the wizard, the mad scientist. In Taurus, which is such a different energy from Uranus. I mean, Taurus is the plodding bull, and again, it's the seasons. It's just one foot in front of the other. Much more this energy of the Knight of Pentacles. So, you know, this really, really does go deep. And, you know, when old regimes fall, when there's regime change or revolution, and there's a sort of deposition of the old order, you know, there can be sort of panic in it, but it also creates the space for really, really profound change. And as I understand it, the trine between new moon in Virgo and Uranus in Taurus at this juncture is harmonious. So there's a whole heap. It's like a bunch of like fertilizer has just been shaken all over the fields, and the conditions are there. The sun has come out, the storm clouds have passed, and it's like flipping it. What should we grow? What should we grow? The world's our oyster here, but that can be pretty scary. And I mean, a phrase I've used sometimes, and I'm seeing it there now in the Two of Pentacles, is like choice paralysis. You know, there can be this period of really not knowing where to, you know, what to choose. It's like being in the supermarket and standing in front of the shelves of, like, with about 150 different types of flipping shampoo. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You could spend all day, you could write a bloody PhD. Dear oh dear. I used to work in PR, I used to write the back labels for things. It's quite good fun. So the possibility, the energy of change here is so profound that we might not even see it. But it's coming anyway, so you might as well embrace it. Right, let's get, I'm going to get one from The Wild Kuan Yin Oracle by Alana Fairchild. Now, Kuan Yin is the kind of Mongolian version of the Tibetan deity Green Tara. And if you've watched any of my films before, you'll know that I chant the mantra of Green Tara, Om Dari 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 Soha. And I chant that every day, at least 108 times, and have done for over a decade now. So this Kuan Yin, who is so closely related to Green Tara, I feel quite, I'm going to take that one, that flipped. I feel quite comfortable with this energy, and it's beautiful, beautiful artwork. Okay, let's see. Okay, we've got Grandmother Dragonfly holds the wisdom. Transformation, my friends. Transformation. We are full on moving from like chrysalis to like winged thing. Okay. Man, I tell you what, I came across the remnants of a hatched bloody great dragonfly a while back, and I mean this thing looked like something out of Alien, with a big hole in its back where the dragonfly basically dragged itself out, like birthed itself out of its own shell. Flipping amazing. The shell's coming off, mate. The shell's coming off, and it's inevitable. It cannot do otherwise. It can't do otherwise. You know, when the shell's ready to come off and you're ready to turn from a pupae or pupil into like an adult thing, into the mature version, into like the new form, it just happens. There's nothing, it's not like the pupae's in there and go, oh, I think it's time to come out. Shall I? Nah, I might just stay in here for another. No, when it's time, it's time. It's time. It's time. There's nothing you can do about it. That's why Death's here. That's why the Knight of Pentacles is here. And, you know, that can cause panic. All right? It can cause panic. This King of Cups here, as I say, emotional backbone, emotional stability. Well advised to bring a bit of that to bear if you can. And I mean, you might as well, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. The Buddhists say, if there's a problem and you can solve it and stop worrying. If there's a problem and you can't solve it, accept that you can't solve it and stop worrying. That's it. That's what we've got here. That's what we've got here. And the uprightness, the upright nature of judgment here in the middle is the most encouraging aspect of this, along with this beautiful oracle card here. Because the work has been done, you have done the work, and it is time to blossom. It is time to unfurl your wings and fly, fly. Alright, so I've come across some Wicked Witch in the West. Right, look at that. That's nearly 45 minutes. Right, congratulations if you're still with me. Thank you very much. If you wish to help me, you can throw the YouTube algorithm a bone with a like or a comment or a subscribe, whatever you want. Have a wonderful new moon in Virgo. It's all laid out for you. All you have to do is have the whatever's to see it and walk into it, because it's ready. It's ready. And so are you. Right, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for watching. See you again soon. Bye bye.